Welcome to Change the World. You change the world because of your influence, because of you are, because of your unique DNA in leadership or any kind of position you take of influence. And this is why have this half hour or 20 minutes, these days a little bit shorter, that I sometimes also invite some guests over here. And we're going to extend this program, but we need more subscriptions on YouTube. So please do that. And if you're watching this now on any other channel, if it's LinkedIn, if it's X, Twitter, or any other one, please go to YouTube, watch it there, and subscribe. That would be really nice. I think it's somewhere on the right inside. Today, we're going to really address another theme that comes back in the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks in a big way. Some big groups in high tech, especially, have decided to reorganize, but in a way that is unusual. It's not necessarily a layoff situation, it's more of a demotion situation, or at least perceived that way. There's not much efforts invested into communicating to people why they are asked to lose their management role. And this is why I was thinking we have to talk about this for a few minutes because it's becoming again a trend. And from the trend, we learn. There is no recipe other than managing your emotional intelligence and trying to really keep yourself contained within the control that you have of the situation. The first reality is when you're employed by a company and you have been even working for many years for that company, for that organization, you're still employed. That means that you decided, and it's totally fair, that you put yourself in the hands to some extent of this organization, and in exchange of the salary you get or the compensation, whichever kind of compensation it is, you give something in return. This is your time, your talent, your invested time and devotion and integrity and loyalty. And then when the company changes the organization, sometimes that has a positive impact on you, and sometimes not really so positive. At least it doesn't feel that way. Let's put it this way. Sometimes the situation is temporary, sometimes the situation seems to be permanent. And then what else? It's overall frustrating, it's disrupting. You are doing something and you are in the middle of a project, there's momentum going, and all of a sudden, all you hear the rumor or the fact comes to you officially, and you learn overnight that you are losing I mean, management control of your team, that the team is now moving to another direction, or another leader, or different roles are dispatched across the organization, the larger it is, and the more often that happens. The reason for this for happening is not always explained to you. And sometimes if it is explained to you, it's not always explained with clarity to you, etc., etc., etc. When you learn it, it's frustrating. It really triggers an emotion, a frustration. And the first thing that really triggers your emotional status is, do I lose something here? Am I demoted? Is it something that for my career on my resume is going to show that I was here and now I'm here without me doing anything wrong? The truth is, it's always about you when you think about it, but the company doesn't think necessarily only about you. So there is different levels. Whoever took the decision, if it's one person or a group of people, of stakeholders, the outcome is the same. It's irreversible. You got the news, you take it as bad news, and it's probably looking that way, but it doesn't affect your salary. They're not going to demote you with your salary. That's very rare. It happens that sometimes you are asked to make that effort to accept, that your salary diminishes, or the other option is to leave because the company financially cannot afford you anymore. When there is this option, at least it's a better option than giving the pink slip and being, laid off. Here, it's not a layoff situation I'm bringing here. Here, it's a reorganization where there is impact on your leadership, impact on how many people you're leading, or whoever reforms your team, your direct reports, and all the different people that are involved, your role is changing. You do not have the supervisory role anymore over a certain number of people that you thought you are leading, you are managing, you're accountable for. And furthermore, you're an incredible leader. This team is really following you, aligns with you. You've been forming that team for a long time. A long time can be 1 year, can be two, by the way. It's enough to say we're forming a very coherent, harmonious team under my leadership. So why do they remove these people from me? Now, really, I had 3 sessions this week, and we are only Wednesday, the middle of the week. And it's happening. And the three are not in the same company. So is it a trend? What's the explanation behind it? I can't tell you. I can't. It can be economical, can be organizational, can be strategic or tactical. I don't know what it is. And I'm not here to give you any recipe, as I said. It's more about a state of mind. It's more about you, and always you. When I focus on my client as a coach, or on a couple or a group of people as a mediator, I'm focusing on them, their interest first, their mindset, their feelings. How do they really feel about the situation is most important because I see maybe an opportunity to coach the person to focus and to prioritize different things. But first of all, if possible, not to question yourself and connect to your core because you know you're valuable. You know that it's not because of your performance, most of the time, really not, that you're losing somehow this team of yours. And it's emotional because you thought. And sometimes, in fact, I mean, yesterday I was talking to a client. I felt like she was losing someone in the family. She was mourning, literally. She built that team. She invested all her feeling in there. Everything was working out so well. There was such a good, harmonious, sealed, bound between, the people in the team. They collaborated properly. They reported so clearly. Everything was really working well. But at the end of the day, that's what she's preparing right now. She heard it. It's not official yet, but she knows it's going to happen. And she's really depressed. She's bitter. She's negative. She doesn't see anything else. She thinks on that obsessively since she knows. And it's probably a couple of weeks now. And it's going to happen very soon. And she doesn't know what to do with this. She doesn't know what to do with this. So, does it resonate with you, by the way? Is it something that you know? Can you identify with that? Uh, have you been through that? Because if you did, please write a comment here. Tell us, share your experience. It's very important. A few lines, because each experience says something different. And your experience of it, and especially what I was telling my client yesterday, if you, in 3 months from now, look backwards and realize that you really, really are grateful this happened. Because under between the lines or, you know, behind the scene, something else was happening and it was not for the best. There was different things in a merger or in a financial situation that could explain that, and they had no other choice but just dismantle your team and dispatch those people in other functions or in other groups, and just really make that decision. That would have been the wisest. The only thing that was not wise is always clumsy because it's a personal experience, is how they communicate it to you and how they give you directions if they do about how to handle it, especially when you're the leader of the team. How do you communicate this to everyone? That you're no longer the head of the team and someone else is replacing you, or they're going to work for another team. Okay. So I think I said enough of the context because that's the context. That's the real story, um, as I can tell you. So before reacting, the first thing I ask people is to pause because reorganizations, they often feel personal, but they're usually systemic. It's going to affect more than one person. It is done structurally. There's something about the structure of the organization. There's something about rationalizing, about, and that's a good excuse they use all the time, is to make it more horizontal, flat, sorry, more flat, flatter, because we want to cut different levels of management. By the way, that makes sometimes very much sense, especially in a matrix organization. But you know what I'm saying to most of the people all the time. There is no perfect organizations today, especially when an organization is very large and scaled and scaled and scaled to reach at one point a certain level of size that really has a lot of areas that are out of control. Really, are out of control. So to flatten the organization is to remove some level of management. Maybe that's one of the most current reason of why this is happening. So you need to focus at that point again, not reacting. Be proactive. And when I think about you and you think about yourself, this is the thing that I think we all should do when you are employed, is to always be externally aware. We need to be aware of our value in the market. We need to be marketable. We need to have our own group of people that we're connecting to and to connecting with, that we interact with regularly, and that interaction can be a formal meeting, really a ritual. This monthly meeting with my friends or people that I really trust and they trust me, and we talk about our respective experiences. But that also creates a space for people to exchange jobs or to be opening job opportunities or to talk about openings because they know you and you know them. And there's maybe a nice fitting possibility somewhere, a nice opportunity that fits so well one or the other profile. So we need to be mobile here. There is mobility. It's a call. It has been always the case, especially in the American market, because there is not much job protection, not in the general sense. So your accountability is to yourself. You need to, again, and I say that all the time, be autonomous, own your destiny. Be aware that when you work for this or that company, for this or that boss, you're loyal, you have integrity, you're going to do your job like you stay there forever. But if you feel that it's time to make a move, or you see at the horizon that the company does not hold very, very strong into the position that you have or give you any perspective of growth, then what you do is that you are looking at the outside or at another department as well. You networking, you proactive. You're not the victim, believe me, never. If you are taking the attitude and the mindset of being the player and the one that's going to do proactively something to always maintain the buzz of growth into your own space, your own destiny, and to the people that you're working with, your closest circles. We go by circles, you know. The closest circle is the friends, the people you trust the most, is the intimate group of people. They can be former peers, former bosses, former employees, former graduate peers, whoever they are. They know you, you know them, you trust each other. You did not stop the relationship. On the contrary, you enforce it. You strengthen it. Sorry, that's what I wanted to say. But the second thing is to focus on what you still influence and not what you lost. Because your influence, if you are an individual contributor from being a leader or a manager, doesn't mean that you lost your influence. So maybe that's another focus. Focus on that. You're an expert in what you do. You just don't need to manage people at this time because, again, the organization decided with the stakeholders that it has to be flatter. That's a good reason. Why not? The third thing I would like to tell you is to avoid isolation at all cost. Make yourself visible, communicate as I just said, and again, reconnect if you did not connect to people who are meaningful to you. Then I think you should put the title on the side for a while because the title doesn't say much about who you are. I know, it's a status. I know it's very important sometimes. It's even important for your professional relationships, even for what you do. It opens some doors when you are a VP versus a senior director or a senior manager. True, the client is going to see you differently. Depends where you are working. But try to take it as a distraction and rebuild your reputation through outcomes and from your presence. Be present, be there, be proactive, open doors, sit down there, impose yourself in a meeting if you have to. But really, be visible. And then use this moment of pause to reflect. What do I want to be known for at this point? Or here in my close environment, in where I work, or in the market? And if you're the leaders managing the emotions as it's perceived, not necessarily as it's done or has been decided, but if you're managing that, and if it's about flattening an organization or if it's about anything else, you acknowledge the shift with empathy, with comprehension that it's not your decision, it was not under your control. Just because you remind this to anyone who comes to complains to you or to take you accountable for what happens, you don't clean yourself from the responsibility. You just say, hey, reality check. It's not me. I don't even understand who made the decision. I'm like you. I'm surprised. I'm caught by this. It's not normal. It doesn't feel very good. But please, let's be in this together. Help the person that comes to you as a leader to reframe. This is not the end of it. It's just a shift in the direction that the company is taking, or it's a shift in the direction they want you to take in your career. Being an individual contributor, for example, from being a leader, is not a demotion necessarily. So the first impression, maybe you were pretty tired when you learned about this, or a little depressed for another reason. So it makes you vulnerable, and you put the emotion in first. There's no boundaries. A whole emotion is going to be triggered by that. You're going to become, again, as I said, like my client yesterday, totally obsessed by the situation. And then I would say that you should offer yourself a path to move forward, something that you really can own, that is going to be yours. That's how you position yourself. That's how you discuss your current position and what you want to make of it once you know what it is, and discuss the role with your boss, with your supervisor, or whoever has influence around you that you want to have this discussion with, who you are feeling comfortable with. Let me also add another thing. We're not enough thirsty for mentoring or for coaching. We should get help, and a comprehensive help, something that's going to dig into you, into the situation, with someone who has the knowledge or the maturity, not only to understand the situation, but if it's a mentor, someone who is a higher ranked person in the organization, let that person teach you how this can be and how to behave with this kind of thing and how to navigate that. So it's good to find a mentor in many situations. And there is even organizations that are promoting and want this to be part of the culture. mentoring can be part of the culture of the company. I would tell you as a leader, to be a servant leader means that you're a bridge. You not a fixer. You help reconnect the people that come to you to the purpose of what they do and to the bigger picture, not only their own little world, their title, their status, their obsession about what it affects them with when it's not necessarily happening that way. I think that's what I can say. Those are tips, they're not advices, they're not prescriptions, because each situation is different and each person is different. But in leadership, when you take ownership of yourself and when you are accountable to yourself, then things change a lot. You have this autonomy. You know that you are fine. Whatever happens, there will be a future for you. You know where to go to ask advice. You know where to go to connect with the people that you know and know you. You know that you're not lost and not alone, right? You're not. That's where you need to make all the reconnections. So, my conclusion is this way: in 3 months from now, in 6 months from now, when you will look backwards, I guarantee you, a majority of you, if you are going through this situation, will look at that and say, this was my greatest opportunity of my lifetime, because thanks to this, this happened, or that move I made and reconnected to that person who led me to this job or to this company. This is what happens when we are triggered by surprise. The emotion comes first. Then you pause. Then you reflect. And then what happens? You strategize for yourself. And it's not a selfish thing to put yourself in the center. That's the way you can charge your batteries and be the best of yourself in all the situations that are going to be faced now from this very moment when you know that you're not in control of that current situation that happened in spite of you. It's totally beyond you. So what now you need to do is pause and get back to yourself, because what is yourself is for you to determine what you want for that person that you are. All right. I hope it's, oh, this Andre speaking, and it's easier said than done. Oh, well, believe me, I feel the pain when there is pain. But the pain is not, most of the time exaggerated, amplified by the fact that we're not taking that pause and we let the emotion dominate everything else. So I think with those good words, I hope to see you next week, Thursday at 10 a.m. You change the world on all the channels of social media, all of them, many of them, uh, and on also the podcast channels, so that we can connect and communicate. And please, please, please share your experience on the comment line or write me an email, and I will share it with everybody. And I really think that your experience talks tons, and we really need to hear about them. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care.